We're joined right now on RealAgriculture.com by Jeff Nielsen. Jeff is the District 2 board member with the Canadian Wheat Board. Welcome today, Jeff.
Morning, Sean.
Okay, Jeff, you've been on the Alberta portion of the Traveling Roadshow. You've been to Medicine Hat, Camrose, and Falher. Basically, I guess, what was the intent of these meetings?
I thought they were supposed to be informational meetings to inform farmers what the government of Canada is planning on doing, and that's repealing the Canadian Wheat Board Act, the changes that will be affecting, kind of go into what we as the board of directors and management have been doing as far as planning for this. It's something that we've been told for, 5.5 years since Conservatives come into power. That was going to happen, and now with the majority, they are going ahead to make it happen. So I thought it was supposed to be an informational meeting for producers on the path forward.
Right. So you're saying you thought, was the outcome different than what you thought?
Very much so. I kind of been following the Saskatchewan-Manitoba meetings through the media, and soon realized this was literally a circus to maintain the status quo. There were organizations that followed every meeting, and sometimes the same people followed every meeting. I give them credit for their fortitude. From the one group, the Canadian Wheat Board Alliance. No, actually, sorry, my apologies. The Friends of the Canadian Wheat Board. A couple of them drove their tandem all the way from Manitoba to every meeting, all the way to Falher in the Peace Country. So give them credit for their fortitude and their belief, but it's strict that just added to the point that they continually wanted to get their message across. There wasn't an opportunity for the average farmer to really be involved and find out what is happening. This was purely to maintain the status quo and protect the single disc.
Well, I had heard a rumor that even the Communist Party of Canada was in attendance.
They were, and they were handing out their support letter at every meeting too. I picked up a copy when I went into the Falher meeting, which honestly I had heard that they were there at previous meetings. I guess I kind of bypassed all the booths and displays when I walked in the meeting rooms before, and this time I took the opportunity to pick it up. So I was actually quite surprised by that.
Yes, there was even the case where the same people were asking the same questions at each of the meetings?
Yes, they were, and that I found disappointing as farmers were there were farmers in the room that you could tell that really want to know what was going on. And when you had individuals and the same scripted question at each meeting, were these
farmers asking the questions?
Well, that's a very good question. Not sure. There were members of the opposition parties at a couple of the meetings. As we know, in Manitoba, there's Ralph Goodale and Bob Ray. In the Camrose meeting, there's NDP member of the Alberta legislator, Rachel Notley, in attendance, and she was making comments. Terry Bean from the NFU was at the Camrose meeting, and he got to the mic. That totally goes against what the purpose of these meetings were. They're supposed to be for farmers, to listen to farmers. And when you have, such as the Friends of the Canadian Wheat Board that went to every meeting, they got to the mic and spoke their cause, and we're trying to drum up funds because they're in a legal challenge with the federal government right now. Canadian Wheat Board Alliance did the same thing. They had a booth there trying to subscribe members and build up funds for whatever may happen in the future. I don't know. And it was very disappointing that these people even have booths in the meeting room. That was totally inappropriate.
So was there pro dual market groups in attendance and able to set up displays?
Not set up displays, no. We were told that there's a question asked in Medicine Hat where were Conservative MPs and Alberta MLAs, were they invited? And the response was yes, they were invited. They chose not to show. I was been told that the one meeting in Manitoba, 2 Conservative MPs showed up. One tried to speak, and they wouldn't allow him to speak. So
who wouldn't allow him to speak?
That I don't know. I've heard this from a couple of producers at the meeting, so I'm not sure if it was the crowd itself or somebody from one of the moderators.
So I guess if you were a farmer and you were trying to figure out kind of what the future holds, would you leave any of these meetings that you're in attendance at? Would you leave any of these meetings with some sort of, I guess, some sort of understanding of that, or was it just completely about the so-called terrible actions of the Conservative government?
Yeah, that would be about it. It was a major fear campaign of the unknown, of what the Conservative government is going to do, the loss of all these things that really are half-truths at the best, a really big push on producer cars, how without the Canadian Wheat Board, producer cars can't survive. I respect producer car shippers. I think if I lived on a line that used producer cars, I'd be fully active in it too. I think it's a great resource. It must be acknowledged that it's a Grain Commission or Canadian Grain Act that actually ensures the right to producer cars. And I feel a new entity going forward would be more than eager to work on behalf of those producers to ship those cars. And we have small terminals, both at St. Lawrence and at Vancouver, mission terminals at Thunder Bay and Alliance terminals at Vancouver that are probably more than willing to jump on the producer car bandwagon and ensure that those cars are unloaded through their facilities. That's just a lost leader. They clamored on that quite a bit, and to be honest with you, producer cars are 5 to 6% of the Canadian Wheat Board's total business. Yet they sure made it out to be a lot bigger than it was. So
my fear all along here has been that the Wheat Board itself is, I guess, trying to save the past as opposed to looking towards the future and being ready for August 1st, 2012. And hearing about these meetings, it leads me to believe that some of my fears are justified. Is there a conscious effort looking towards what the CWB looks like post August 1st, 2012?
Some, not to the degree that I'd like to see. We get a lot of challenges saying it's our fiduciary duty to currently protect the existing CWB Act, and there's a lot of people saying that our most valuable asset within that Act is the single desk. Knowing that the Canadian government is a major player, being that we are bound by an Act of Parliament, and only government can change an Act of Parliament, I extend my fiduciary duties to farmers who have told us through producer surveys that they want to see changes, want to see us move forward. And being informed by the government that changes are happening, that I believe it is our duty as directors to work with government to look at whatever means and measures we can. And we've done some. And I wish we could, and honestly, I wish we can give our CEO, Mr. White, a heck of a lot more latitude to go forward with this. He is an incredible man with a wealth of experience and knowledge. And even our senior management team have I believe, grasped the idea that changes are happening. And they have the ability to move forward with this. We just, unfortunately, we've given them some rope to play with right now, but the group of 8, as I call them, are holding the reins tight, and they're not letting what needs to be done properly. Well,
there's been rumors on the street about the group of 8 and what the future is for them. And I think at this point it's all speculation and things like that. But I guess the part that concerns me is this. You talk about fiduciary duty, and we got this plebiscite going on, and it just seems like we're not necessarily like whatever the results of the plebiscite are. And I know lots of people that are pro dual market just toss their plebiscite in the garbage, or sent their plebiscite to Harper's office. Which is even I don't understand that whole process. But I guess what is the result of the plebiscite actually going to tell us? And no matter what the result is, and 2, what do we do with those results?
I don't even consider the plebiscite at all. It's totally invalid. We've been told by our legal counsel that it is invalid. And when you look at the requirements of the Act, it says the only person that can hold the true plebiscite is the minister, as he's the one that devises the question and works in the voters list. I don't even like talking about the plebiscite at all. It isn't valid. It's non-binding. But in reality, the minister has informed us that he is replacing the Canadian Wheat Board Act with another act, We don't know what that act is until he introduces legislation this fall. Thereby, the government supersedes any requirement in the existing act. We're spending a heck of a lot of money. A lot of money's probably up and beyond of what we've stated publicly on this survey, and on these farmer meetings and all the phone calls producers are getting from Chairman Allen.
What is the next step? Is it just, is it kind of eventually we're going to get on to what is the future?
I hope so. I hope to, hopefully early this fall or as soon as Parliament resumes, we'll see legislation introduced. That will probably hopefully motivate my board to, I hope to really look at the seriousness of this and allow management to really move forward on working on a new entity that can work in a voluntary marketplace and still provide value to farmers. And I see a lot of value that we can be providing to farmers and our customers. We have a heck of a customer base out there, so I think it's a win-win situation there. My biggest fear going forward, though, is kind of more or less a pledge and promise from Mr. Olberg and the Group of 8, saying that when the plebiscite results are released, and if they are supportive of the single list, that they will do anything within their resources to see that come to pass. And to me, that means, and quite possibly, I'm speculating here, using the resources of farmers' pool accounts to fight this.
Yeah, I think there would be a bit of a uprising, or I guess a disagreement from some people if they were to do that, because it just seems the writing is on the wall here, and I could very well, I obviously don't know all the details, but it just that's my perception, is that it's kind of like your parents tell you that you're not going out, you're grounded. And you just keep on battling it and just digging the hole deeper in terms of the perception they have of you, and I just don't understand. And even I don't believe that even if the plebiscite results do say that farmers do want a choice, I would be surprised honestly if the Group of 8 even gave up there.
It makes you wonder, since we formed this new entity, or since we formed the Canadian Wheat Board when we had 10 elected farmers, every year since then, 13 years, we've held farmer surveys. We poll permit book holders, and every year has come back never anywhere near over 50% support of marketing barley through the single desk. So what have we done in 13 years in respect of listening to producers when they told the board over and over again that they didn't want barley in there? So that's a good question. Will they actually respect the plebiscite, or the so-called plebiscite, if it comes back against them? Mm-hmm. Very good question.
It's going to be very interesting. Jeff, great conversation. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
You bet. Thank you.